Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy BB2727 here, and welcome to a very different video than normal. If you guys remember, like a few months ago, back in August, I made a video called The Rise and Fall of Mavy Gene Guard, and basically what it was this whole documentary about Mavy Gene Guard, which if you guys still don't know, definitely recommend watching the video. It's August videos 2022. It was a big video, and it was actually one of my best videos this year, at least I think it is. I went over his entire history and explained who he was and how he was important to like the community and these friends and all these people and like his channel and how he went crazy. But basically this video will be kind of like a sequel to that. But instead of going over his history, we'll be talking about something that actually happened during his like kind of peak and during some of his fall too, but not as much. Mainly during his actual Mavy era. So we'll be talking about Mavy's biggest enemy. If you guys don't know who that was, it was this kid over here. It was Hatboxz, aka Dino Dude 200. Now, to give you a little bit of rundown on who Hatboxz was, this kid was about 6 to 7 years old, and he was, of course, like a ginger kid, and I mean, you can make a bunch of jokes about that, but this kid was like a 6 to 7 year old ginger kid, and he absolutely loved Mavy's videos, and he'd always beg him to go live all the time. Everyone called him Hatboxz because that's just what his name was years ago. Nowadays, I mean, he has a bunch of different names. But basically, he would always go on Mavy's streams and beg him to go live all the time. And Mavy hated that. Like, Mavy started getting super pissed off at the fact that this ginger kid was begging him to go live. Now, again, there's way more. Like, this video is mainly going to be history of this kid and not really Mavy. But Mavy's, of course, a big piece of this whole puzzle, pretty much, of what this kid is and the battles. But this kid was also very toxic and annoying. He'd go to people's channels and report them if they didn't do what he wanted. He'd beg people like Mavy mainly to go live and be like, go live, go live, go live. And if you didn't listen to him, he'd freak out. He was part of the Jeffy fans, which if you don't know, the Jeffy fans were a very kind of big piece of that whole entire era during Mavy's peak. All the Jeffy trolls and the Jeffy fans, he was kind of in line with them. And him and Mavy hated each other. Like, I think he actually did like Mavy, but he also loved annoying him. And Mavy, aka, you know, the 20-year-old autistic guy, he absolutely hated Hatboxz. And this is something that no one's ever talked about. So this is kind of the reason I'm doing this video, is because this shit was actually insane looking back. Mavy wanted to literally murder this child. And I'm not kidding when I say that. There is so many threats and comments throughout all my live streams from Mavy back years ago when he'd watch my streams and, you know, chat. He'd always make up these ridiculous scenarios about what he wanted to do with Hatboxz and, you know, what he was going to do with Hatboxz. And he hated the kid so much. He had a burning passion of just hatred for this little ginger kid. Now, I actually hated this kid too, but it was not on the same level as Mavy. To me, I just blocked him, and I was kind of annoyed back then when I was like 13. I just couldn't stand the kid, but I could deal with him. Mavy couldn't deal with him. Mavy had a huge problem dealing with him. I'm going to show you guys a few screenshots I took from my own old streams back in the day of Mavy's kind of threats and his hate comments towards Hatboxz, and we'll go over them, and I'll talk about more of what he said that I did show, and some stuff like that, and then we'll go back to the ginger kid and talk a little more about him and his channel. But yeah, so I'm going to show that right now. Okay, so here's the first screenshot. Now, this is a bit of a weird one. This is pretty much shows his hatred in it. So we got a bunch of comments, and he would do this a lot, guys. Back in the day when he still watched my live streams, 2019, 2020, all the way up until he stopped, actually, for a couple of years, he would go on these big, long tangents about the ginger kid, Hatboxz, and he'd absolutely hate the kid. Like, he hated him, bro. So here, we'll go over some of these. Let's hope Mario later in the game destroys cars, runs over buildings, and runs over Hatboxz. So to give a little bit of context about what Mavy's talking about, this was from my old school Paper Mario playthrough, the very first one, not the second one, the redone one. This was the original one, and he just was saying this shit in the comments, and I'd laugh at it. I'd be like, damn, bro, it's kind of far, you know, it's a little crazy. I'd laugh at it, I'd go over it a little bit, but this dude was really mental, like, and we all know, if you guys watch my comprehensive history video on Mavy, we know how that story ended, and we know how crazy he actually got. So this stuff, you know, this was way back in the day before that actually happened, but this already was bad. Hatboxz is the one who needs to put his hands behind his back. Hatboxz is a a giblet head and a twig boy. He'd come up with all different sorts of insults, guys. Like, he hated this kid. The crimes he committed are racism and begging. Now, this is true. Hatboxz, he did say the N-word quite a bit, and he'd also beg like crazy, which pissed off pretty much everybody in Mavy's community, including me. But dude, this guy, trust me, he absolutely hated him. God, I want him to get a life sentence. He's a red-haired loser, kind of making fun of the ginger stuff. Now, this isn't even the most extreme shit he said. There's ones that I didn't show, and I'm not going to show on here, but there's ones about him wanting to feed Hatboxz poison, kill him. He wanted to like get Hank Hill and destroy him. I think that's the next one I'm going to show here in a second. But there's a lot of shit that Mavy said throughout the years that is really bad about Hatboxz. Like, this is pretty tame compared to his normal stuff. But yeah, we'll go on to the next one now. Okay, so here's the other one. This one is pretty bad, too. I just hope that Hatboxz quit YouTube on my break, hopefully. Good, that little bastard is a jackass. Now, you guys can ignore the last comment. That's just someone else. This was taken from my Sonic Adventure 2 playthrough. Well, not playthrough, but the stream I did back in 2019. I know I've done a couple of those, so it's a little bit confusing. But anyways, this one was kind of during a point of time after the Mavy era, like way after it, but it was still 2019, so it wasn't that far. But this was when he took a big break from YouTube, and then he came back, and he was like slowly starting to get to the PS4 era, which we talked about in my comprehensive history. This one isn't, again, this is not too bad. There is some really extreme ones that you guys can find all throughout my old streams from 2019 and my StreamYards from 2020. But this guy, seriously, was so insane. Like, if you were there, you would know how much insane, ridiculous scenarios he came up with to torture Hatboxz, to make him feel pain, to scream at Hatboxz, you know, just anything. He would literally make up scenarios torturing Hatboxz all the time in my comments. And he really, really didn't like this kid. Now we're going to be talking about kind of the kid himself and his channel, and then we'll basically be wrapping up the video. So this is kind of like a little bit of a mix of Mavy stuff and how much he hated him, and then also, you know, the ginger kid himself. So we'll be moving on to that right now. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Dino Dude 200, aka Hatboxz XZ, if whatever you want to call him. The actual ginger man himself, aka he's like 6 years old. But we'll actually be talking about him now. So yes, as I said, he would go on people's streams such as mine, Mavy, you know, anyone in Mavy's comments. He'd beg them to go live. He'd actually spit out some N-words if you pissed him off. He was very easily annoyed, and this kid, for his age, man, he was a total troll. He was toxic. He was crazy for being only 6, 7 years old. Nowadays, I'd say Hatboxz is around 9 to 10 years old, which is definitely older. I don't think he's matured that much, but it's kind of hard to tell because he doesn't make videos anymore and he doesn't really do anything. But back then, yeah, it was really easy to keep up with what he was doing because he'd always post. For example, his shorts. He was, you know, there's these one where thank you for 41 subscribers, these random videos, him playing with toys. You know, you could tell the kid was very young, but in the comments, man, he was crazy. This kid was insane. Like, instead of being like a 6, 7-year-old, he seemed like a 12-year-old troll on like Call of Duty back in the day. That's how he acted. And nowadays, I have no idea because the only shard of him that we have is actually this channel that was the original Hatboxz channel, which he's shouting out his own channel. He'd do things like this too, which were very cringy. He'd like shout out his own people. Like, he had a sister, right? He had like a little 6, 7-year-old, or maybe even 8-year-old sister, and both of them would kind of take team and like troll people and get, you know, report them, which, I mean, reporting does nothing. I've been on this platform my whole life, pretty much. Reporting does jack shit. If you go to this link, this will bring you to what Hatboxz kind of became. So it might be a little laggy here. This is what Hatboxz is now, and I believe he's like 9 in these videos, or like 8. I actually don't know how old he is. This was kind of what he was doing in 2021 during like spring era, whatever you guys want to call it, during like April, May, right? So this was what he was uploading. Some of these videos are definitely more high effort than his old school stuff. They got some editing, some music. It's still a little kid at the end of the day, but it's definitely better. Him personally, though, I don't know how he was during this time because after I blocked him in March of 2019, when I did my 100 subscriber special, which if you guys still don't know what that is and you can't find that on the channel, it's the video that I made kind of telling you guys why I call myself Big Boss 2727. But yeah, anyways, he commented on there and was about to report me for some shit, so I just said, fuck this kid, and I blocked him, and then that was the end. But I never talked to him since then, so I don't know if he became nicer or more mature, but this is what he's been up to. This was Mavy's biggest enemy, guys. Mavy wanted to murder this kid. And this kid, I mean, he definitely stopped bothering people, at least I hope he did. He wasn't really around the community anymore after March, after the end of Mavy Gene Guard era. But Mavy would always bring this kid up. Even in COVID in 2020, he would still be talking about this kid. He made rants on the kid too on his own channel. You guys can find old school Mavy videos where he's ranting all about Hatboxz. It's just absolutely insane, and it's something that no one in the community has made a video about or talked about that much, other than me, Winston's making jokes and stuff, maybe even Chris. But no one really got deep into it like I'm doing right now, and that's pretty much the whole arc of Mavy versus Hatboxz, aka the Ginger Kid. I don't know what Hatboxz is doing now. Mavy, I don't even know what's doing now. To give you guys a little quick update from August, he hasn't done much else. I found him in a few different comment sections, so he's still alive, but we don't know if he's hurt anybody or what he's been doing with his car. So we got no idea what's going on with Mavy. So, I mean, other than some comments, he's just saying like, oh, thank you for making this video, or a good video, you know, just be Mavy being Mavy. But he hasn't posted since my last rant, or comprehensive history, I should say. So, yeah. We don't know. Mavy, there's not many updates. This kid, this is the biggest update for Hatboxz. Other than this, I have no idea what the kid is doing. I could check channels here. I don't know what his sister's doing. I know his sister had a channel too, but we had no idea what him or his sister's doing. Now, the sister was just as toxic as him too. I didn't talk much about Hatboxz's sister, but she was like blonde hair, I believe, brown hair, and she was a little kid. She wasn't as bad, I don't think, as Hatboxz, but she still was kind of bad. So anyways, that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a good laugh out of this. Mavy was insane about this kid. He wanted to fight him in real life and do things with Hank Hill because Mavy's delusional. He thought Hank Hill was real and he was going to beat up Hatboxz. Absolutely, like, it was just chaos. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're wondering why I'm talking about such an old topic, this is just something I thought about recently, and I'm like, wow, no one's ever talked about this during any of the eras, so let me just say it now. So anyways, that's about it. Like, subscribe, hit your boys later. Sonic Frontiers streams should be coming soon, and some other stuff. And yeah, I know this is pretty different. If you guys like these comprehensive history videos and these like little documentaries, let me know. I'll make more. I got tons of people to make these on. So that's about it. Peace, and have a good day. Thank you for watching.